And good morning, Man Hour Nation. What a week 10 it was. Good Lord, I forgot to change the date on the picture, but who cares? It is November 13th. We do got Monday Night Football tonight, but the Browns beat the Ravens. The Cowboys flex on the NFL. The culture back at 500. The Vikings now have 5 wins in a row. Mac Jones gets benched again. But first, and now, Mike's thoughts. Sometimes, guys, you just got to sit back and you got to laugh. You got to sit back and you got to laugh about the arguments people make there on the old Facebook page. The arguments that people want to say, hey, this is the reason why I'm right and you're wrong. My man Hoffy, at manhour_Hoffy. If you guys not following him on the Facebook page, you should be. But check him out, at manhour Hoffy on the old Facebook page. Hoffy put up a stat head, right? So, sorry, stat muse is basically where you can compare two players. You can compare 5 years, their whole career, the rookie years, whatever, right? StatMuse is a very good head-to-head competition. Hoffy put out a Trevor Lawrence versus Mac Jones out there. Hoffy decided to say, you know what? If you guys think Trevor Lawrence is elite, you guys think Trevor Lawrence is a top-tier quarterback in the NFL, slow it down, baby. He said, slow it down, baby. Look at Mac Jones' stats. They literally have the same exact stats. We're not calling Mac Jones elite by any stretch of the imagination. We're calling Trevor Lawrence elite. And then I started scrolling through the comments. And of course, you always got the extreme to the left and to the right. It's just the nature of the beast, right? But there's this one particular person, I don't even remember his name whatsoever, and this guy said, you have to scratch Trevor Lawrence's first year because he had Urban Meyer as a coach. I'm like, huh. So you get to scratch Trevor Lawrence's first year because he had Urban Meyer as a coach. So me, being me, I'm like, logistically, if we're going to do that, let's take away Mac Jones' second year because he had the worst offensive coordinator in the history of mankind in Matt Patricia. But then that same person's like, whoa, you can't do that. You can't do that. He had the same head coach. What's the difference? You can take away Urban Meyer's year with Trevor Lawrence, but you can't take Matt Patricia's year with Mac Jones? What? Like, how does that work? And then we get to go bantering back and forth. 37 comments later, he's like, Urban Meyer is a really good coach. It's just he wasn't very good for Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, didn't you just say he was a bad coach? Didn't you just tell me you wanted to wipe away his whole first year because he was underneath Urban Meyer? But it is what it is. But guys, I got to ask the question. Let me know in the comments below. In the comments down below today, right here on Man Hour Live, November 13th, 10:04 East Coast time, is Mac Jones better than Trevor Lawrence? Who is the better quarterback, Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence? I'll be curious. What do you guys think? Let me know. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation? Rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. Where I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and combs. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're after dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Bukasha here with the Man Hour. Turn over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Check out the blog section as well. Good things happen over there at manhourradio.com. But first, we got to welcome the people in the show. We got to welcome the OGs into the show. We see my man Arthur Brown is doing the show. What's up, Arthur Brown? We see my man Alpha Rob is in the chat. What's up? Of course, we got Jim Powell in the chat as well. It says, good morning. What's up, Jimmy? James, Jimmy, Jim. It doesn't matter. We're all Jims at the end of the day. What's up, Jim? Grand old morning to you. Pump out your monster. Jim says, Mac Jones is better than, and he doesn't curve it in a breeze because his nose can't catch the wind. Basically, Jim thinks that Mac Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence. Jim thinks Mac Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence. What do you guys think? Who is better, Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones? Oof. But guys, we do got a good show for you lineup today. It is Monday. That means it's way or no way. We're going to talk about those greatest team on the NFL circuit right now, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, the best team out there, the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk about the Raiders. The Raiders. 2 in a row. Slow it down, baby. Save some wins for the rest of us. Vikings, speaking of saving some wins, 5 in a row. Are the Vikings the hottest team in the NFL right now? Holy good Lord, can somebody grab them a beer? Because they are living it up over there. Of course, Mac Jones does get benched. Not once. Not twice. But for the 3rd time this season, Mac Jones has officially been benched. David is in the chat as well. Get my name off of there. He says, Chargers in the house. We have to run the table. We have to run the table, says David. That is a perfect segue into the first comment of the first way or no way of today's show here. And guys, that is the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions muster up a win. They get that guts. Dan Campbell's like, I got that gut feeling we can make the 4th down play. They go for it on 4th down. They get it. They ice the clock. Bada bing, bada boom. Game-winning field goal for the Detroit Lions, dropping the Chargers again. Guys, I have seen it all over Los Angeles Chargers boards. I am in several Los Angeles Chargers groups, and I've seen it time after time after time. It is time to fire Brandon Staley. It is time to get a new defensive coordinator. It is time for Kellen Moore time in Los Angeles. Guys, right now the Chargers are sitting at 4-5. 4-5. Sitting at 4-5 in 3rd place behind the Raiders. Imagine that. The Raiders are in 2nd place. But the Chargers are sitting in 3rd place right now in the AFC West, sitting at 4-5. They lose a heartbreaker to the Lions. They lose a heartbreaker to the Dolphins earlier this season. They lose a heartbreaker to the Titans. But then they beat a Vikings and a Raiders team. They lose the Cowboys. They lose the Chiefs. They beat the Bears. They beat the Jets. And then they lose to the Lions. When we look at the Chargers' schedule moving forward, they play the Packers. Packers team is, I don't know who they are. Let's just be honest. I was high on the Packers earlier this season. I said, and I quote, they're either going to be really, really good or really, really bad. There's going to be no middle point. But for some reason, right now, there seems to be a little bit of a middle point, right? It is at Lambeau, 1 o'clock game. It could be a good game. Ravens and the Patriots, that's a dub. Broncos, that's a dub. Raiders, that's a dub. No, that's a Monday night game. That should be a good game. And then you play the Bills, Broncos, and Chiefs to end the season. David, as much as I like you, man, as much as I'm glad you are in the chat each and every day, your Chargers, man, they do not have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. They are a playoff caliber team, right? Do not let them in. If they sneak in somehow, some way, they could pull an upset. They could play a 2-7 seed and pull that upset. They could beat the Chiefs in the first round. They could beat a team like the Cincinnati Bengals in the first round. But they got to get there, and I just don't think they can get there. It's going to take 10 wins. Right now they're sitting at 4, so they need 6 wins. If they beat the Packers, Patriots, Broncos, there's 3, and Broncos again, there's 4. Where are they going to get those other 2 wins from? From the Raiders? From the Ravens? From the Chiefs? From the Buffalo Bills? I'm just curious, right? David, I'm sorry, man, but your team is just not going to make it this season. But you are in the house. And David says, Trevor Lawrence is way better than Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 quarterback. What? Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. People in the comment section of that post, Hoffy made that post go viral, my man. Touche to you, man. But people are are saying you have to win a Super Bowl to be considered top 5 in elite. Mac Jones Trevor Lawrence has not done that yet. Jim says Levis and Lawrence both had 4 touchdown games. So the best we can say is Lawrence is as good as a 1-game rookie. Hoffy calling out Mr. XD Gamer. XD Gamer, where are you at, man? Is Trevor Lawrence a top 10 quarterback? Is Trevor Lawrence the best quarterback in the land? I don't know. And then Hoffy wants to come out and say that Levis and Lawrence both suck. Oh, this guy. How are you going to tell me that Will Levis sucks, man? How are you going to tell me that the Kentucky product himself, Mr. I can put anybody on my biceps and crush that egg? Ugh, I'm built different. If you know, you know. Will Levis is the man, dog. Will Levis is the man. The man. But guys, let's get into a little bit of Way or No Way. Let's get into some Way or No Way. Way or No Way is very, very, very simple. I've been putting a little bit of feelers out there all weekend long. I've been trying to see what you guys think. And we've been thinking, hey, is this statement going to be a way? I do agree. Or no way, I don't agree at all. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. So let's get into it. First Way or No Way of the day here. First one of the day. We got to talk about those Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns come back from a 17-point deficit in the second half to come back and beat the Baltimore Ravens. Not only did they beat the Baltimore Ravens, they come back in the last second and made a huge play to seal the game and kick a game-winning field goal. Deshaun Watson is finally stepping up and looking a little bit like himself. Like when I say himself, like back in the Houston days. Back in the day when he was a top 5, top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He was him over and over and over again. Going into yesterday's game versus the Baltimore Ravens, the Browns had a 23% chance of making the playoffs. 20% chance of winning the division. After that victory, they're now sitting at 81% chance to make the playoffs and a 25% chance to win the division. So we got to ask the question, way or no way, are the Cleveland Browns favorites in the NFC North now after beating the Baltimore Ravens? I got to sit back and I got to thinking here, guys. like the Cleveland Browns right now. I like what they're doing. I like everything that they're mustering together. Their defense is spectacular. Myles Garrett is the man, the myth, the legend, hands down. Who can stop him? Nobody can. And then Deshaun Watson is starting to step up. Donovan People-Jones is stepping up. Amari Cooper is stepping up. Ford, good Lord, you won't find that guy found on road dead. Hell no, put that keys in those ignition, and that man is running up and down the field over and over and over again. So when we look at the Browns, let's look at their schedule. Coming up, they do play the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up next. They did lose to the Steelers earlier this season, 26-22. That, I believe that was the game that Deshaun Watson went out with that first shoulder injury. And then they do play the Browns. Sorry. And then they play the Rams, Jaguars, Bears, Texans, and Jaguars to end the season. And then their last game of the season is the versus the Cincinnati Bengals, which they did beat the Bengals earlier this season 24-3. That is a game that Joe Burrow was very, very hobbled and just looked terrible. But right now they're sitting at third. Right now they're sitting at 6-3. They're behind the Pittsburgh Steelers that are 6-3. They have the head-to-head, obviously, and then the Ravens are sitting at first place at 7-3. I think it's going to come down to a two-horse race. I think it's going to come down to the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns. I think the Ravens' true colors are starting to show out. They cannot close out fourth quarter games. It's simple. They just can't do it. So way or no way are the Browns the favorites in the NFC North or AFC North? Way. It is a way. Guys, the Cleveland Browns are not only going to win the NFC North, they are going to win it week 18, obviously. They're going to go into the playoffs. They're going to host a playoff game. They're going to win that playoff game. And the Cleveland Browns are going to be making some noise. The Cleveland Browns are going to be like, hey, did you forget about us? We here. We are here. We are live, and we are raw and uncut. We're just getting better each and every week. The Cleveland Browns are them right now. Their defense is spectacular. Their offense is getting better each and every week. A team that I do not want to play right now if I am anybody in the NFL, and that is the Cleveland Browns. I do not want to play the Cleveland Browns right now. Ever since that 49ers game when Jake Moody missed that game-winning field goal, the Cleveland Browns have been on a tear. That was the confidence booster that they needed. 100%. To the moon, baby. To the moon. Scroll back up here in the chat here. Jim says, way. The AFC North goes through them. David says, way. I like the Browns. I like the Browns. Hoffy, do you like the Browns?
For the AFC North to win it?
Yeah.
They're making it harder and harder to pick against them because, I was, coming into this week, I thought the Bengals were getting hot at the right time and going to go on a run. The loss to Houston definitely deflates that whole ship a little bit there, but I still think the Bengals are going to make a run at it, but it's up to the Browns to continue to stay hot. And I think that, like you said, since they beat the 49ers, that their confidence seems to be through the roof. So I think the Bengals will still be in the playoffs. I think they'll be a wild card. But yeah, I think you have to give the AFC North to the Browns.
Yeah,
so I guess that's a way.
Yeah, and so if you guys do not know, this is Hoffy, the man behind the chat right there, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend behind the Man Hour chat. It's his Man Hour Hoffy. Follow him on the old Facebook page. He brings all the stats and all the reasonable expectations to the show. But Hoffy, Jim says the Bengals are the bottom of the barrel. Listen, I don't want to talk bad about the Bengals. I don't want to talk bad about the Bengals because earlier this season, they freaking sucked. Let's just be honest. Joe Burrow was very, very injured. Joe Burrow and the boys were just not clicking on all cylinders whatsoever. When they went and played Houston Texans, obviously it was at home. They didn't go play Houston, but when the Houston Texans came into town, Jamar Chase was a game time decision, a legit 50-50 decision. We didn't know whether he was going to play or sit till like 30 minutes before the game. They were out T. Higgins, they were out Mixon, and they were out another receiver as like as well. So the Bengals were very, very hobbled versus the Texans, and they still competed with the very, very good Texans team. Guys, stop sleeping on the Texans. The Bengals are not the bottom of the barrel. If you want to point anybody to the bottom of the barrel in the AFC North, that has to be the Pittsburgh Steelers because they are so freaking bipolar. I mean, they might need some of my meds because they are so up and down, up and down, up and down. We don't know whether they're coming or going. Hoffy, are the Bengals the bottom of the barrel in the AFC North?
I mean, if we're talking standings right now, yes. But coming into this Sunday, all four teams were in the playoffs. You had the Browns leading the division, and then you had the 3 wild card spots in the playoffs being occupied by the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Ravens. So right now, as far as standings go, yes, they're the bottom of the barrel. But I still think, like you said, I think the Steelers are the bottom of the barrel. I'm not a believer in Kenny Pickett. People keep saying it's Canada, whatever. I mean, that's same thing could be said with New England, and it's Belichick, it's Mac, whatever. I mean, I think the Steelers are going to digress, and I think that they'll be at the end of this year. They will be in the basement in the AFC North.
Yeah, yes, Jim. I do see that the Bengals are in last place at 5-5. They are at 5-5. But you have to realize every game that the Bengals have lost this season, Hoffy, Joe Burrow has either been injured or they've been out like a big name receiver. And I do understand always, it's the next man up. It's the next man up. But at some point, you have to realize, like, hey, Joe Burrow was very, very injured to start the season. He probably should have been on IR, right? Boyd, if he wouldn't have dropped that game, I guess the game sealing touchdown catch, we would have had a totally different conversation. The Bengals would have been tied for first place at 6-3 with the I think everybody would have been 6-3 in the division besides the Ravens, right? They're sitting at 7-7 and 2. But to say that the Bengals are not the real deal, I can say that they're probably not Super Bowl favorites, right? We can agree that they're probably not going to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. But to say they're not good, say they're bottom of the barrel, that's tough, right? That's tough.
Yeah, I mean their first game was tough. I mean, and we talk about injuries for Burrow. It's their second game they played against the Ravens. Again, Burrow injured, but they only lost by 3 points. And the Ravens are a top 5 team right now. They then beat the Bengals, and then they lost to the Titans. So they started their season at 1-3. They rattled off wins against the Cardinals, no big deal. They beat Seattle in Seattle, which is a tough task. They then beat, the 49ers pretty convincingly by 14 points, and I believe that was in San Francisco. They then beat the Bills, which they're not the same Bills that they have been the last 2 years, but the Bills are still a solid team. That's a solid win. Much better, wins than what the Bills have or what the Dolphins have, or, heck, even maybe the 49ers don't have those kind of caliber wins that the Bengals have, so after winning, 3 games in a row, or 4 games in a row, it's tough to win week over week in the NFL. And, they ran into a buzzsaw in the Texans, and it was a last second field goal. So, the Bengals are clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah. So John says the Texans impressed me yesterday. Listen, the Texans, John, have been impressing me pretty much all season long. But the last 2 weeks, C.J. Stroud has been on this next level, can we say elite level type of quarterback play. 2 weeks ago, game-winning drive. That man was unstoppable. I think he went like 80 yards untouched into the end zone. Last night versus the Bengals, a good Bengals team drives his team down the field, puts them in field goal position. CJ Stroud and the Texans are just looking really, really, really good right now. And to be honest, we are going to start thinking about second round or second overall quarterback picks, first overall quarterback picks in a different light now because of CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has put these draft picks basically saying, hey, you have to perform like me or you are going to be a bust. That's what it comes down to. Because when Caleb Williams gets drafted first overall next season to, I don't know, let's say the Arizona Cardinals, it is going to be instantly expected for him to instantly turn that team around, right? Let's say the Chicago Bears get the number 1 and number 2 overall pick, and they get a quarterback, and they get like, I don't know, some lineman, right? Instantly expect them to turn them around now, right? So, Hafi, is CJ Stroud giving all these other quarterbacks, that were pretty high drafted, like maybe Trevor Lawrence, maybe like Tua, maybe like, I don't know, Jalen Hurts. Is he giving them kind of a bad name? Like, hey, I'm doing it now. It took you guys 3-4 years to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think he's, figuring it out with I'm a fan of DeMeco Ryans and his coach, but his coach is a defensive-minded coach, and it like you said, as a rookie, you don't see many rookies have, this type of success. Pea shooter Mac Jones was pretty successful his rookie year with the Patriots, led them to the playoffs. I mean, week 1 loss in the playoffs to the Bills and a Pro Bowl, but CJ Stroud is above and beyond outperforming what even Mac did. And Mac had, Josh McDaniels has his offensive coordinator, and I don't think he had a lot of weapons, but I still think his weapons were better than what CJ Stroud is operating with. So not only is CJ Stroud putting, rookie quarterbacks, setting the bar for rookie quarterbacks, he's finally putting doubt on that, Ohio State can't provide or can't produce a successful quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that's the stupidest argument ever, but we digress from that. But when we look at CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans in general, as they are impressing us, right? As they are getting wins over against, big name competition. I believe they are 4-1 versus teams over 500 so far this season. They have beaten a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have beaten a team like the Cincinnati Bengals. Guys, a Houston Texans team, they almost remind me of my puberty self, right? When we were hitting it, we're like, bam, 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 and we're done. And then for the next 40 minutes, we're like, hey, what do we do with our hands, right? So I'm worried that the Houston Texans are not going to be much toward the end of the season because they are kind of living this roller coaster life right now. CJ Stroud is performing out of his mind. I think he has 2 total interceptions on the season to 14 touchdowns. This guy is just playing lights out, hands down. What happens when he gets a bad game? Because it is coming. It is coming when he gets that 3 interception game, when he gets that 4 interception game, when he only throws for 120 yards. It is coming. What happens then? That is the biggest catalyst in the Houston Texans, season so far, is they haven't had to face that adversity yet. What happens then? Hafi, do you think CJ Stroud is a type of quarterback that can bounce back from that adversity, from a quarterback that can, say, yeah, I did throw 4 interceptions. You know what? Look at this big old slangling dong because it's about to throw another 3 touchdowns. Do you think he is that guy?
I mean, time will tell because eventually he's going to, every quarterback does. He hasn't had that game yet. But yeah, I think that he has a good head on his shoulders. I mean, he's leading the league right now in total yards per game. He's got 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know, so yeah, I think that he is. I think if this happened early, if he threw those 4 interceptions earlier in the year, it could be debatable. But I think with the body of work that he's put down already, he's got the confidence to say, you know what, 1 bad game versus 9 good games. I think he'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah, and then not only that, it is not like he's being a game manager either. He is, he is pushing the ball down the field repetitively over and over and over. I think I saw a stat somewhere where his average passing ball in the air yardage is over 20. So they are pushing the ball down the field. They are challenging him to, find the open guy over and over and over like again. But John, yes, I do agree with you. I was impressed with the Texans yesterday. I've actually been kind of impressed with them all season long, and I'm falling in love with CJ Stroud. Like, my man crush is kind of going from Patrick Mahomes to CJ Stroud now. Maybe Tay won't be the cover of Madden next year. It will be old CJ Stroud, right? You never know.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
Curse is real.
Jim says, I have a meeting, but can we at least talk about how my Raiders don't play 60 minutes? We still play 58 and still go prevent? Yes, let's talk about those Raiders. Hoffy, the Raiders are now 2-0 under interim head coach Antonio Pierce, right? The Raiders are a team that I don't know whether to jump on the bandwagon or just be like, you know what? You guys should be winning these games. You should be beating the Jets. You should be beating the Giants. Because when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, how they beat down the Giants, they're like, oh, it's just the Giants. But when the Raiders beat them 30-6, oh, it's the Giants. Let's smoke those cigars, right? But the Raiders' true tests are coming up the next 5 weeks. 6 weeks. The Raiders do not have an easy schedule moving forward, Hoffy. They play at Miami Dolphins. They play the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they play a 5-win team in a row, the Minnesota Vikings. And then they play a Chargers team that always plays the Raiders very, very, very well. And then you travel to Arrowhead, to Indy, and then you play the end the season with the Broncos. Jim, John, and I think I saw Michael in there as well. You guys can be hype about your Raiders. I understand. 2 wins in a row is a big deal. Wins over the Jets and the Giants. You guys own New York. New York State champions, baby. Or is it New Jersey or wherever, right? Congratulations. Talk to me next week when the Miami Dolphins whoop that ass. Talk to me next week when the Kansas City Chiefs go into Vegas. I will be there, and they're going to bad baby. Hoffy, do the Raiders have any justification of being hyped about 2-0 underneath the interim head coach?
I mean, you can be glad that you get to watch your team win the last 2 games, but those 2 games that he's won already are probably going to be more than what they'll win for the rest of the season. They might be able to beat the Broncos at the end of this year, but other than that, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose their next 5 games.
Yeah. I mean,
or even 6, never mind 5. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're beating the Dolphins. I don't think they're beating the Chiefs. The Vikings, hey, if we had looked at that after the first 3 weeks, we could say that's a win for them there. But, 5 wins in a row for the Vikings. I'm assuming that the Vikings will lose one of the next 2. So, they're probably going to whoop the Raiders' ass. You got the Chargers. Like you said, the Chargers always play them well. I don't think they're going to be looking for a tie this time. So I think the Chargers win that one. The Chiefs again, the Colts. They might beat the Colts because, the Colts suck. I mean, they tried to give the Patriots a win yesterday.
Slow it down, baby. Playoff bound.
Come on, they scored 10 points against the Patriots.
Put some respect on that name.
I'm not putting no respect on the Colts. Gardner Minshew is not him. Colts are absolute garbage. If we had Malik Cunningham yesterday, we would have put up 20+ points and it would have been a cupcake game.
I doubt it. But John says because they are on something good now, that is why we should be hyped about the Raiders. They're on something good now. What are they on good now? They're on good because they beat a Giants team that's like on their 5th string quarterback and 20th offensive line combination. Are they on something good that they beat the Jets that the Jets can like walk into the bathroom and forget why they're in there and shit their pants and be like, oh, whoopsie, it's not my fault.
The Patriots beat the Jets.
Yeah, it just, I mean, like, I understand there is a reason to be hyped about the Las Vegas Raiders. I understand there is a reason that you want to jump on the bandwagon. But slow it down, baby. Slow it down. You beat the Giants. You beat the Jets. Oh, but Hoffy, you know what? We can't say they just beat the Giants because it's not the Cowboys, right? Because when I say that about the Cowboys, they're just the Giants. Well, guess what, Raiders? You just beat the Giants. Come on. John says, keep that attitude when we kick that queef ass next week. 2 weeks. Listen, you can kick my ass and then I can queef all I want, and I'm still going to score a tutty on you. Max Crosby might be the dog. Number 41 of your guys' linebacker core might be a dog. You guys might. Is Marcus Peters on your all team? I forget. I forget. It's like is he on the Raiders? Yeah. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Kansas City Chiefs are on a mission, John, and you know that. The Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl bound. Have the Kansas City Chiefs ever lost in Las Vegas? I mean, it's that first question for you. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. It is it is Arrowhead West, basically. The Kansas City Chiefs own the Raiders. Ever since y'all victory lap around our stadium a couple years ago, we've been whooping that ass up and down the field. John Gruden should have known better. John says, perspective without McDouche looks like... What's that word? Perspective.
Organized?
Well, yeah, but he says
perspective.
Perspective without McDouche looks more organized. Duh. I'm not for sure what you're trying to say. Are you saying that the team looks more organized? The team looks more hungry? The team looks more gritty? Your offensive coordinator, your head coach, Antonio Pierce, doesn't even know the rules. He lost a timeout because he challenged a play that couldn't be challenged. I mean, you can be all happy you want. You can be organized all you want. How about Oakland?
We're going to go back in time here.
Yeah, we're not in Oakland anymore. You guys are in Vegas. You guys want to have the greatest show on turf, and you have Adrian O'Connell. I mean,
his mustache, man.
I just want to wax that motherfucker. God damn. I mean, I know my mustache looked bad, but at least mine was full. Like, this guy just looks like, I hope he drives a fucking white
Looks like a 12-year-old that just hit puberty.
Yeah, I hope he drives a white van to, like, Vegas practice and fucking jumps out. Oh, my God, that would be so awesome. But, listen, John, Jim, whoever is out there, a Raiders fan, guys, I'm not here to dog your Raiders. Yes, I am. I am here to dog David. Let's go Raiders. Come on, man. Come on. The Raiders have 4 wins on the season. Oh, but Hoffy, guess what? They're sitting in second place. Super Bowl, baby. We got second place in the West going into week 11 of the NFL season. That's our pride and joy. Let's hang the banners. Let me pull my best. Who's that guy that has a greasy black hair on FS1? Nick Wright.
Nick Wright.
Let me pull my banner down. There you go. There you go. Oh, sorry. David, correct me. You all have 5 wins now. 5 wins. My bad. My bad. Hoffy, you said you don't see the Raiders getting any more wins for the rest of the season, right? Maybe versus the Broncos?
Yeah, 2 at most.
Let's say Let's play the what if game, right? What if? What if the the Las Vegas Raiders do not win any more games for the rest of the season? What if they get blown out by the Miami Dolphins? What if they get beat down by the Chiefs and the Vikings and the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Colts, and then they even get beat by the Denver Broncos at home, final game of the season? Does Antonio Pierce have a job after that?
No, I think they call up Josh McDaniels and rehire him.
Oh man.
No. I mean, he proved last night. Wilson is the reason why the Raiders won that game last night. If he doesn't throw that pick, they're driving down the field, and heck, they gave it right back. I mean, why are you throwing the ball on third down with a shitty quarterback? Run the ball, kill the clock. You know, the flag for trying to challenge a play that was already, you know, going to be reviewed anyways. I mean, I think that he needs to be an assistant coach or go be a defensive linebacker coach. I don't think he's head coach material, but we'll see. If he can squeak out more than 2 wins, maybe you can visit that. But I don't see them getting more than 2 wins.
Yeah, you see, there are certain players in the NFL that are really good head coaches. Dan Campbell, right? Really, really good head coach. People want to run through a wall through that guy. And then there's other people out there, Jeff Saturday and Antonio Pierce. They might have the X's and O's, but they don't have the grit factor involved in them. So if Antonio Pierce does not win a game for the rest of the season, I do not think he will be a head coach in the NFL. Not because he is not inadequate, not because I don't think he deserves a chance, not because I don't think he is just like smart on the X's and O's side of things. It's just the simple fact of the matter is like, when you are a star in the NFL or a starter for many, many years in the NFL, I feel like your work ethic is kind of out the window, right? It is kind of like when people think that Tom Brady will be a good coach. I just don't think he will. Like when they say Michael Jordan could be a good head coach, I don't think he ever would, just because he expects people to perform at his level, right? People like Dan Campbell was a backup tight end in Detroit and I believe Dallas, right? He had to come up. He had to consistently work hard each and every day to keep a roster spot. And he has ingrained that into his team. So as good, as fun as the 2 weeks was in Las Vegas, and as fun as it was to see Antonio Pierce smoking the cigars, they are not going to be smoking any more cigars in Las Vegas. They are not going to be winning any more games in Las Vegas. So you guys can take your 5 wins, David, John, Jim, whoever is out there that's a Raiders fan listening. Take your 5 wins, hang your banner. We beat the Giants. We beat the Jets. We got 2 games in a row. Good job, guys. Good job. That is it. John says, I think he would for his knowledge of the game, meaning he thinks Antonio Pierce will have a job moving forward because listen, everybody in the NFL, whether you are an equipment manager, whether you are an athletic trainer, head coach, owner, general manager, you have a general knowledge of the game. You know how the intertwines of a game works. Every coach on an NFL roster knows the X's and O's. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. Hoffy, what makes a great coach? A coach that is willing to get that grit factor, to bring the best out of his players each and every day. Dan Campbell is out there getting the best out of his players each and every day. Mike McCarthy is not. Bill Belichick is not. Andy Reid gets the best out of his players each and every day. So I'm not saying that Antonio Pierce doesn't know the X's and O's. I just don't think he knows how to get the best out of his players. Hoffy, in your mind, what makes a great coach?
I mean, you just said it. Someone that's going to get everything out of his players every day. I mean, someone that's going to ride or die for his players, and the players are going to ride or die for the coach. Which Pierce seems to have that. However, I am not a high school coach. I am not a college coach. I am not an NFL coach. Heck, I think my wife probably would have been able to figure out the fact that all turnovers are automatically reviewable and that you don't throw a flag there. You don't throw the red flag. I mean, so you got to know the game as well. And clearly that was just elementary school stuff. I mean, every single one of the people on this chat, every single person that probably follows our page knows for a fact that play was reviewable. So what is he doing throwing a flag? So I don't, you got to have knowledge of the game and you got to have the ability to, get everything out of your players. So you got to have both of those things. He's only got one.
What is that one? Ability of the game?
Correct.
There we go. All right, guys. So let's move on to the next way or no way of the day. And we are going to talk about the infamous, the greatest team in the NFL right now, the team that is going to go to the Super Bowl, the team that nobody can beat unless you're the San Francisco 49ers, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Guys, last night the Dallas Cowboys beat the New York Football Giants 49-17. They were clicking on all aspects. They were looking good. They were looking great. So we got to ask the question, way or no way, do the Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East? Right now, the Dallas Cowboys are sitting in second place, sitting at 6-3, with the Eagles sitting at 8-1. So basically, right now, the Cowboys need to win 3 more games than the Philadelphia Eagles to kind of get that leg up on them. The Eagles do have the head-to-head win earlier this season, but when we look at the Cowboys' schedule moving forward, they play the Panthers, that's a dub. They play the Commanders, that's a dub. They play the Seahawks, that's a dub. They play the Eagles, that's a dub. And then they travel to Buffalo and Miami. These 2 games I'm really concerned about. Buffalo Bills. We never know which Buffalo Bills team is going to show up. The ones that lose to the Jets or the ones that beat the Miami Dolphins. Like, what Buffalo Bills team is going to show up? And then they play the Dolphins. That's probably a loss. And then they play the Lions. That's a dub. And then they play the Washington Commanders. That is a dub as well. Why am I saying all these home games are dubs? Because the Dallas Cowboys have a 15-game home winning streak. They are undefeated so far this year at home as well. Then we look at the Philadelphia Eagles playing at Arrowhead this weekend, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a loss. Then they play the 49ers. That's probably a loss as well. Then they play the Cowboys at Dallas. That is a loss. Then they play the Seahawks. I think they pull that out. And then they beat the Giants. They beat the Cardinals. Then beat the Giants again to end the season. So basically, guys, we're looking at them being tied. Right now, we are looking at them being tied 100% going into week 18. So way or no way do the Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East? Hoffy, I'm going to go with way. I think the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFL. I think the Dallas Cowboys are the most complete team in the NFL. When we talk about getting better each and every week, guess what? The Dallas Cowboys do that. Yes, they did shit the bed versus the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, they did shit the bed versus the San Francisco 49ers. But they've learned from their mistakes. They've learned from their mistakes, and they've gotten better and better and better. They are them. Guys, stop sleeping on the damn Dallas Cowboys. They are them. Hoffy, where no way do the Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East?
Absolutely no way. To be the best, you got to beat the best. And they have lost to the best. They've lost to the Niners. They've lost to the Eagles. There is no way. A tie doesn't get them the win either. So, no. I think that, yes, like you said, the Panthers, that's a W. The Commanders, that's a W. The Seahawks, that's a debatable game. They should win it on paper, but and it is home, so I'll give them that one. But I don't think they're going to beat the Eagles in Dallas. That's where that home streak ends. They're going to go to Buffalo on Christmas. It's going to be 5 feet of snow. It's going to be miserable. And Pollard has not shown us this year that he can be that guy. And that game is going to need Pollard to be that guy because Dak is 100% going to have at least 3 turnovers in that game. So they're not beating the Bills. The Dolphins can't beat right now a team that's above 500, so they probably sneak that one out, but they're not going to beat the Lions. And the Commanders have played the Eagles tight in both games. So in Washington, I could see them somehow finding a way to squeak that one out as well. So no, I don't see. I'm going with no way. The Eagles are going to, and it pains me to say that because as much as I hate the Cowboys, I hate the Eagles that much more. But I think the Eagles win the NFC East.
So let me flip back to your 5 feet of snow Christmas Day game versus the Buffalo Bills, right?
Have at it.
How did the Patriots handle the Buffalo Bills a couple years ago in that 80-mile-an-hour wind? They ran the ball over and over and over again. I think Mac Jones should have threw the ball for 3 times in that game. Something ridiculous.
3 times exact.
Let's say they do have 5 feet of snow on the ground. Okay, let's just play the scenario in our head. They have 5 feet of snow on the ground. Yes, Tony Pollard hasn't been, quote, the guy that we all thought he was going to be this season, right? The backup running back, his name's slipping my mind. He's kind of just sputtering along. But there's a third string running back from the Kansas State University.
Good Lord, here we go again.
This guy is 5'4", Hoffy. If there's 5 feet of snow on the ground, give freaking Deuce Bond the ball. He's going to be like a freaking snowball rolling down the field. You don't know if he's coming or going. You can't see that guy. He's going to be shifting, and it's going to be so much snow. You're like, where did Deuce Bond go?
He's going to be stuck in it.
No, he's not. Good
you don't
Lord.
remember you have, what, 2 kids?
Yeah.
Have you had snow in Indiana anytime lately with more than a foot of snow?
Listen,
put them in their snowsuit
when
and
it
they go up
snows
there and
in
they're just
Indiana, it snows. It's a nice, good snow. We get about 6 inches, right? 3 hours later, it is all gone. All melted.
well, Buffalo's snow is wet, heavy, thick. He ain't gonna be able to move. He's gonna be in quicksand out there.
Sounds like my type of time. Wet, thick, and sucks you in, huh? But yeah, listen. John says no way. No way do the Dallas Cowboys win the East. It's Philadelphia all day long. And he says they will lose to Detroit. When we look at these games moving forward, Hoffy, do we think the Dallas Cowboys versus the Detroit Lions is an NFC Championship preview?
No.
You don't think so?
Dallas will not be in the NFC Championship game.
So you putting the Eagles over there or what?
I could see the Eagles. I could see the 49ers. I could see the Lions. 2 of those 3 teams will be in it.
Yeah. You know who won't be in the championship game with the Jacksonville Jaguars because the 49ers made them baby back bitches. What's up, XD?
Yeah, I noticed XD Gamer hasn't showed up today.
Yeah. Jim Powell says he doesn't suck, but call him Hoover. Not for sure who you're talking about. And then John says, Patriots play in that weather. The Cowboys do not. Listen, if you had an opportunity to play anywhere in the world, I think Buffalo, New York would be the last place on earth that I want to go to. Let's just be honest. Nobody in their right mind wants to go to Buffalo, New York in December. I'm just putting that out there. John says, Buck, are you underestimating the Detroit Lions? Listen, I'm not underestimating the Detroit Lions at all. I actually have them going to the NFC Championship game. I do not have them winning the division back in July when we first picked it, right? And I do not have them winning the Super Bowl. I don't have them winning the NFC Championship game, but I'm not underestimating them. I just don't think that they can beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just saying. Belichick. Belichick. Belichick.
It's a chick. He's a
Put
chick.
some name. Put some respect on that name. But guys, we got some unfortunate news. Hoffy, we got some sad news happening. You know what the sad news is?
Yep.
The hour has gone by so fast. But next week, guys, is Thanksgiving. Next week, the shows, we're going to have 2 shows, 2 live shows for you guys next week. Because every Thanksgiving, it is my time of year when I go back home. I see my mama and my daddy, Hoffy. So I'll be gone Wednesday, Thursday,
Are you a mama's
Friday.
boy or a daddy's boy?
Oh, definitely a mama's boy. So me and my dad have that love-hate relationship. You know what I'm talking about? I love to hate him. No, no, but
Chargers run the table.
David, come on. Chargers aren't even going to win next week, man. Come on, dog. But guys, next week we do only have 2 shows for you lined up unless Hoffy decides to go live, raw, and uncut solo. We'll see. We'll discuss that. But we'll see you guys next time.
People don't want that.
People do want that. The people want some Hoffy. Hoffy, speaking of, who do you got tonight? We have the Buffalo Bills taking on, I don't even know who's playing tonight. God damn it. It's the Broncos
Buffalo
and Bills.
Bills.
Yeah, the Broncos taking on the Bills. Who do you got?
I got to go with Buffalo.
I got to go with Buffalo as well. I think it's going to be 17-16.
Yeah, 2017.
2017. Jim says, Hoffy, you can do it. Cut this fucking head off. You can do it. Send us out, big guy.
Man, our nation.